Hey everyone, welcome to Corazon Alma Espiritu, presented by Chicana Inc. and hosted by me, Dominica Escatel. I am super excited to have all of you join us again, and I'm here excited with my friend and guest, Missy. Missy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to, let's go ahead and just start off with letting everyone know a little bit about you and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, my name's Missy, and I have a small business called 9 to 5. So I will definitely get into the details about that. But I am an interviewing coach, and so I help out anybody that is looking for a job and also maybe looking to improve their skills or update their resumes or anything like that. So I get into all of that, and so I mean, it's a snippet of me, but I'm from the East Coast, so anybody that is tuning in from the East Coast, hello, and then anybody that's from other parts of the of the United States, definitely excited to be here with you as well.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you, because I know we're a little bit different in the time zones, but this is the power of technology. Like, I love it that we can connect. You're over there, I'm over here. And so let's go ahead and dive in, Missy. So we're going to go ahead and put your PowerPoint on the screen, and then I'm going to exit. So you'll have the stage. Okay. See you in a little bit.
All right. Sounds good. Perfect. All right. There we are. Perfect. Let me get in here. All right, awesome. So excited to be here with everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's an honor. I am just going to make sure that I have this correct. Sorry about that. So I know I said just a very snippet about me, so I'm going to get into more details about who I am, because a lot of you don't know me, and so I definitely would love to introduce myself. So again, my name is Missy, and I'm located in the New York metro area, so on the East Coast here. I have a Puerto Rican background, and so I was born and raised in a Puerto Rican household, eat the food, love the music, and definitely something that I'm very proud of and love to share. I currently reside with my husband and my cat up here, and I have a couple of degrees in management as well as marketing. So I do have a total of 8 years of combined experience with recruitment, marketing, and sales, and I am the founder of 9 to 5, which I'll get into in just a second, but it is my small business, and with that, I'm an interviewing coach. So what is 9 to 5? So 9 to 5 was created in November of 2019. Pretty much, it was just an idea that I had because I have been doing recruitment for a couple of years already. And I thought, wow, there's a lot of people that really could use more in-depth assistance when it comes to interviewing or putting together their resume, et cetera, et cetera. I actually launched in July 13th of 2020, so right smack dab in the middle of the pandemic, and I decided to launch them because I felt like, wow, there was such a drastic change all over the world, and a lot of people lost their jobs, people that were with their companies for 10, 20 years, what have you, and then they were starting from scratch. So I said, why not, dive in and try to help bridge this gap with the tools that I already use, with my knowledge and my experience, and, really help those that are looking, to get back on their feet. So 9 to 5 was launched, so we're almost at the 1-year anniversary mark, which is super exciting. And 9 to 5 is pretty much an a la carte interview coaching service that provides, but is not limited to, interviewing preparation, resume development and enhancement, interviewing tips and tricks, LinkedIn page edits and reviews, resignation guidance, mock interviews, and confidence building sessions. So I definitely try to tap into a little bit of everything under this umbrella. And for those that might be interested in weekly updates or getting tips and tricks on a weekly basis, you can feel free to follow me on my Instagram. So I am at 9 to 5 Missy, and every single week I'm always giving updates and tips and tricks on all of these things. So don't miss out and feel free to connect. Let's be a colleague. So let me move forward into my third. All right, so I have a question for everyone here, and it is, how much time does it take to form an impression? How much time do you think it takes to form any kind of impression? And this can be any kind of answer. I've gotten tons of answers. Some people say within a matter of a couple of minutes. Maybe they need a day to think about the person that they met. Maybe in a couple of seconds. What do you think the answer to this question is? Well, colleagues, it's 7 seconds. It is in the blink of an eye. Yes, you're reading correctly, 7 seconds. So in the first 7 seconds, someone can determine if you are trustworthy, competent, serious, likable, etc. And it's kind of like, okay, no pressure, right? I only have about 7 seconds to really get myself together. But this is really what the statistics show, that within 7 seconds of meeting somebody, you're already forming all of these, I guess, assumptions about somebody. And the same goes for recruiters, organizations, companies that look at resumes. They take about 7 seconds to skim through your resume to see if it is good enough to really be moved forward into the process. So you really don't have a lot of time there, do you? So it's really important to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. So that way, within those 7 seconds, you're pretty much captivating. You're captivating their eye in one way or another. Now, let's get into some of the do's and don'ts of interviewing, the meat and potatoes as to why we're here today. So there are about 3 different types of interviews that are conducted. The first one is in-person interviewing. The second one is phone interviewing, and the third one is virtual interviewing. So those are pretty much the 3 main ones that you'll see and that you'll go through. I'm sure that you have. I know I've gone through pretty much all of them myself. One thing that I would love for you to take away today is to remember that an interview is a conversation and not an interrogation. So I know that interviews can be very exciting, but also nerve-wracking. With interviews, you want to make sure that you say the right thing. You don't want to, you want to put your best foot forward and not mess up in one way or another. But I want you to remember also that you want to pick a good company that's going to respect you. So in the interview, it shows a lot also from the other party as to how they're treating you in the interview. You don't want to feel like there's a spotlight being put right on you and that you're going to be sweating bullets. No, it shouldn't be like that. An interview should be very conversational, very comfortable. So let's get into the first one that we have here. So what are the do's and don'ts of in-person interviewing? So with our first bullet, what you don't want to do is just research the company website only. Now, I know that a lot of people only do this and think that it is sufficient, but the secret is that it's not. What you need to do is go above and beyond with this step. So of course, you definitely want to make sure that you research the company website, because you want to get down the mission statement, the vision statement, maybe any awards or recognitions that they've received in the past or currently, but also branch out into their different platforms that they use. Look at their LinkedIn, look at Instagram, Facebook, anything else that they are a part of. How about researching any philanthropic organizations that they're associated with, or even perhaps, let's say, programs that they already have implemented to help out their current employees, their internals. So that way, it could be any sort of different programs. There's tons out there, but you definitely want to make sure that you research these things for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to help you gather questions for yourself. So that way, when you're in the interview, you can ask these questions and get them clarified. So that way, it can also help you decide if this is a good fit and match for you. And also, again, you're able to really broaden your thoughts about the company, learn way more about it, be more knowledgeable, and get yourself educated about them. And you're really going to stand out in the interview when you do so, when you have all of, again, these ducks in a row. And look at the posts that they're posting, the comments that maybe they may be commenting. the organizations that they're also connected with on these social media platforms. So those things really are crucial. The second bullet point that we have here is to not just bring your resume. So of course, you want to make sure that you bring a resume, but colleagues, that is not enough these days, unfortunately. Many times, what you want to do is bring the extra. So what I mean by that is that we also have what we call portfolios. So portfolio is pretty much all of your skills and things that you've done in past organizations in a binder, or even you can do it electronically. So you want to bring your portfolio, and a portfolio isn't necessarily for every single industry or every single job. So maybe you might not need it, or perhaps you will, but a portfolio really goes above and beyond. You also want to make sure that you try to bring any sort of letters of recommendation. You want to bring references that are typed up and make sure that they are professional references. And just anything else that you think that would help leverage you, help you stand out and apart from competition. Any awards or recognitions that you've received that you want to showcase. Again, anything that's going to make them say, wow, this person really not only did their research, but they brought a lot to the table, and we can see them as an asset to our organization. So not just bringing your resume, but perhaps all of those other things. And a side note is to bring more than one resume. You never know if you're going to meet more than one person in the interview. It has happened time and time again where you might be set up with one person, but then last minute, somebody else comes into the room as well. So you want to make sure that you are more than prepared in that sense. The third bullet point that we have here is you don't want to not interview the interviewer. So what do I mean by this? Of course, you're being interviewed. They want to make sure that they have a good match for their company, but you want to make sure that this is a good match for you as well. I mean, just think about it. You're going to be in this seat day in and day out, perhaps 9 to 5, perhaps Sunday through Thursday, or whatever the schedule might be. But for years, moving forward, you want to make sure that this is going to be an organization that you're proud to be with. So with the interview, you want to make sure that you're also interviewing the interviewer. How do you do that? Well, it's like I was saying, when you are researching the company, you're gathering all of those questions so that way you can bring them to the interview and get everything clarified. So think about growth opportunities. What questions can you come up with that will help you really gain that clarity as to if you're able to grow within the company? How about things that they're able to do for their employees? Are there any programs that will benefit you, benefit your family, benefit your future? Things like that. So these are definitely the do's and don'ts of in-person interviewing. Now, we're going to move forward into phone interviewing. And if I didn't mention before, feel free to take as many notes as you like. And I will make sure that I keep these slides so that way if anybody wants them, I can send them out as well. Now, the do's and don'ts of phone interviewing. I personally love phone interviewing. Number one, because I can't see the person and they can't see me either. It is the best thing. You can literally be in your home, in your jammies, and on the phone, just doing a phone interview, but excel in the phone interview. Now, what you don't want to do in a phone interview is you don't want to forget your cheat sheets. So what do I mean by cheat sheets? Cheat sheets are all of the tools that you're going to need that you can have in front of you, which are your resume, specifically the job description of the position that you're applying for and interviewing for, and then also any of the other things that are important, like your research about the company, et cetera, et cetera. In the phone interview, the interviewer is going to ask all of these things because, again, they can't necessarily see you, and phone interviews are pretty much just about that, knowing about your background, your resume, knowing about what you know about the company, your research, knowing about what you specifically know and have learned from the job description. So they're going to make sure that you've picked through the job description and that you know the ins and outs, but also that you might have some questions about it as well. So it's important to have all of those things at your fingertips. And what better way to have them than a phone interview? You have your cheat sheets in front of you. Now, the second bullet point that we have here is to not conceal your personality. This is huge. Number one, because again, you can't see each other. So you have to make sure that your voice says it all for you. Your voice is the shining star in this phone interview. Make sure that your voice is projected. Make sure that the interviewer can understand every single word that you're saying, and that the tonality of your voice is clear, that you have a lot of energy, that you're energetic, you're smiling, and that you're doing the best that you can. The worst thing that you can do is just be very monotone, have little energy, no personality to your voice. That is literally the worst thing that you can do. I will tell you from experience, I've done plenty of phone interviews over the past couple of years, and our company, as I'm sure other companies, will hire or move forward with a candidate based on their energy through the phone. So a lot of times they'll hire based off of personality versus experience. So personality goes a long way, because skills many times can be trained. A person can be coached and trained in an organization, but personality can't be coached or trained. So it's really important to put your best foot forward. And we understand that there are tons of different personalities in this lifetime, right? So we have introverts, extroverts, a little bit of both. We totally get it. But remember, how bad do you want the job? You want to make sure that you keep it conversational. So which leads me to my next point, which is do not use short answers in your phone interviews. You don't want to just do yeses or nos. That is definitely not going to get you through the next round. What the interviewer is looking for is that, again, you're conversational, that you can hold a conversation, that you are knowledgeable, and that you're eager to really provide enough examples and answers based off of your experience, based off of what you know, just a little bit of everything. So just remember to, again, not go overboard with your answers, because you don't want to give an answer that is 5 minutes long, but you certainly don't want to give an answer either that is just, perhaps a minute short as well, So don't forget your cheat sheets. Make sure to not conceal your personality, and don't use short answers. Definitely go the extra mile, the extra length when you're providing any kind of answer. And now we're going to get into the do's and don'ts of virtual interviewing. So virtual interviewing, as you all know, has been very popular within the past year, especially, with the pandemic that has gone on. And so everybody is really utilizing and taking advantage of virtual interviewing, which is excellent. There's nothing wrong with it. I personally love it. So the first bullet point that we have is you don't want to create or edit your account the day of. So what do I mean by this? With virtual interviewing, you have tons of different platforms and softwares that companies are using. So the main ones that we know are Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and perhaps others that are out there. What you don't want to do is that if you don't have necessarily an account, or if you do, you don't want to create it the day of, because you want to make sure that you notice any glitches that might be in your account, or when you're setting up with your Wi-Fi and all of that. You want to make sure you get rid of that, get that done and over with, so that way everything is clear for your virtual interview. You also want to make sure that you edit your account. So if you don't necessarily have a professional account name associated, or a photo that's in your profile, make sure that you get that up to date. So that way, again, you're putting your best foot forward in the virtual interview. Definitely crucial to make sure that that you take care of all of that way ahead of time, and it's going to definitely go. It's going to help you out, trust me. The second bullet point is that you don't want to dress casual for a virtual interview. So I know that we are doing these virtual interviews in our homes, or somewhere that's not in an office setting necessarily, and it can be really easy for us to just be more on the casual side and not really put too much effort or think too much of a virtual interview when it comes to our clothing. But that is a myth. So think about a virtual interview as an in-person interview, but just through a webcam. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that from the top up, from the waist up, you're putting on a nice blazer or a really nice blouse, maybe a suit jacket. Make sure that your hair is combed and that, you know, it's styled and all of that. And if you want to wear pajama pants again for your pants, that's fine because you're not going to be standing up. But make sure that you put your best foot forward with your attire, because trust me when I say that interviewers are looking at every single detail. And if you don't get moved forward just because of that versus somebody that had almost the same exact interview, but they did dress accordingly, most likely they're going to move forward with that candidate. So try to dress to impress. As I say, it's going to go above and beyond. And then our third bullet point that we have is using poor body language. So again, with the virtual interviewing, you're seeing each other, not necessarily in person, of course, because it's virtual, but you're face to face virtually with this person. And so you want to, again, make sure that you smile, that you're enjoying your interview, that you're using your hands every now and then, that you are engaging, and maybe you're moving in forward a little bit, you know, trying to listen in and joking around every now and then. It really does help break the ice and help the room in itself. So that way everybody's comfortable. That way you're letting the interviewer know, I'm engaged. I'm excited to be here for this virtual interview. I want to learn more, and I want to show you what I can bring to the table on this organization. So using poor body language, again, goes above and beyond. What you don't want to do is you don't want to slouch. You don't want to, you know, cross your arms. You don't want to look anywhere else. Make sure your eyes are focused on the webcam or, you know, whoever you're speaking with. And you don't want to not smile or at least crack a joke here or there. It really does help, you know, when you use amazing body language. So pretty much those would be the do's and don'ts of, again, in-person interviewing, phone interviewing, and virtual interviewing as well. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning, I would love for you to become a colleague and connect with me. So I'm on Instagram at 9to5Missy, and I'm an interviewing coach. So I guide you with interview tips, tricks, secrets, interview preparation, mock interviews, resume transformations, and so much more. I do have a free resume guide that you can download today at any given point. So feel free to go ahead and download it. This resume guide is going to help you step by step in putting your own resume together if this is something that you choose. You're going to get the tools right there at your fingertips, so that way you can come up with a 5-star resume. And again, if you need more assistance, I'm here to help with that as well. Aside from that, you can also you can schedule me on my Calendly, and you can either do a free 15-minute consultation. I can answer any questions that you have within those 15 minutes. You can schedule a mock interview. You can even schedule an interview prep session with me. So we'll make sure that we prepare you for the entire interview process from start to finish, with paperwork, with interviewing, with mock interviews, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, other than that, that's me. And I would love to know if there are any kind of questions.
All right, Missy. Let's see. Let's take their slide PowerPoint down so you can see me good. You can hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Girl, thank you so much. You're getting a lot of hearts, likes, care button, and a lot of comments. I was actually getting a lot of text messages. I think this is definitely something that we really also need to talk about, which I'm so happy that you're joining us from New York, because, you know, through this last year and a half, it's become very hard with, you know, different people that I know that have either are transitioning from another job or just starting, maybe a significant other lost a job and, they're looking for something new. And it's been years since you've been in the market. So definitely, like, I always encourage to have a coach. And Missy, I love that you focus on interview skills and prep. And so with that said, one of the questions that I got is that do you kind of also help guide with your interviewing like attire? Because that's something that when I've been on panels that I've seen anything from ripped jeans to like stilettos. So can you like give us some tips?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely go into that with my interviewing prep sessions. But as I was mentioning with your attire, of course you want to dress to impress, go a little bit more above and beyond. But you don't want to show up in necessarily a gown, or
Right.
you don't want to show up, like you said, in stilettos, which some women would think, oh, this is appropriate because they're not heels, they're not Crocs. I mean, not heels, I'm sorry, they're not sneakers, they're not Crocs or anything like that. But there is a limit to everything. So you want to make sure that you dress accordingly. With women, it can be nice slacks and some nice shoes and a button up. Same thing for men. And, you don't necessarily have to wear a dress if you don't want to, but just make sure everything looks business professional. I would say in any kind of setting, any kind of industry out there, no matter how silly you may feel that it might be to what you're walking into, trust me when I say that a little goes more and goes, a long way. So try to dress as business professional as you possibly can.
Yeah, Missy, I love that. And then so another follow-up question to that is kind of like, what do you think about dressing for the job or job title that you want? Is that something that you kind of help people figure out? Because when you're really wanting to make an impression, you dress up, right? But what if it's not necessarily the title that you have in the moment?
Yeah, that's such a great question because, you think about all of the different positions that are out there. So like, for instance, I think about fast food chains, right? You go into an interview for a fast food chain and maybe you're just going to start out as a cashier or someone in the back that's helping prepare the food for the guests, right? And you think, okay, maybe I can just kind of dress down a little bit, but maybe I can put a little effort into it. I would say definitely, of course, dress for the job that you want. If you see yourself within 3 to 5 years of that company and moving up and growing, look at the managers. Imagine what a manager would dress for a managerial interview. And so that's definitely something that I would advise all candidates of that.
No, I love that. Those are some great tips. And also another question that came through was, do you have any like simple, practical tips to boost confidence? So if you're like up for that interview, you're not really like feeling it, what do you do or what do you recommend to boost your confidence?
Yes. So I literally, I would say not so long ago, I was on a Clubhouse conversation and we were talking about building confidence when it comes to interviews and what do you do to really lead yourself up to that. And I know that maybe you're at a point where you've been interviewing at multiple positions and you just haven't really received anything, or you've been putting applications in and it's just kind of like crickets, right? I would say, number one, get in a positive mindset. You just have to, and know that what's for you is for you. It will happen at the right time. At the right time, it's going to happen. Now, what I always recommend is that for me personally, in the mornings, I like to get up, make sure that I freshen up, maybe eat a little breakfast. I like to do a little bit of my my spiritual meditation, and I like to make sure that I get myself either with some sort of fluids like water, tea, something that's going to calm my body. And so I like to get myself in that kind of space, and then know that if I did my research for the company, if I'm prepared enough, I know that I'm going to go kill it, and make sure, and then maybe do a little party dance by yourself,
Right.
like put on
Yes.
yes. Put on some music, any kind of music that you like, and get those jitters out. Make sure that, girl or boy, you got this. So again, it's all about having a positive mindset and just really preparing yourself from the moment that you wake up to the moment that you get to the interview.
Yeah, no, I love that. And definitely, so Missy, we've been flashing your Instagram and then your link tree so everyone can connect with you because I know that I really haven't come across too many interview coaches. And so I really want to highlight you and put you out there. And we definitely put those links there. And then after everyone that connects that would like to watch the replay, we'll have all your bio and your website there. So everyone who is watching today and listening, definitely go connect with Missy, like her social media pages, and then drop in her DMs because I feel like that is the biggest tip ever, right? That when
Yes.
you want to network and you want to connect and invite someone to your sphere, like interact with them and start a conversation. And then, I don't know, Missy, I don't know if you found actually, if maybe before we leave, you can say a little bit about that piece of it on the difference between just sending a DM and like a voice message and a video. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Do you mean like for
Like in social media, like for Instagram, for example, like do you see that a tip to just kind of get yourself known to someone that you like respect in a field or someone that you want to connect with? What would be like a good way to approach them?
Yeah, of course. So you definitely want to utilize social media. I mean, it's social media. It's like made
Right.
for a reason. So go ahead, feel free to DM somebody, that you want to work with, that you want to connect with. I always say, feel free to DM me. You can always email me, but usually with emails, we're not maybe checking them all the time or daily. So we're not going to get to you right away, unfortunately, just depending on who you are and how busy you are. With DMs, most likely us coaches, we're checking our social media accounts on a daily basis and more than once in a day. So DM most likely is probably the best way to go at this point. And don't hesitate. Again, they are there. We created our space for a reason to connect with you and to be with you and to help you out. So I'm all about, DMs.
I love that, Missy. Thank you so much. So, all right, we're going to wrap our time together because we want to honor your time. I know you're in the East Coast, Missy. So, thank you so much for being here once again. And then, any comments, anything that is dropped in the chat box after this, we'll make sure that we get to you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yes, definitely. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye. Bye, Missy.
Bye.